Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. I don't know what you want. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall. My love, if you feel like I do right now, don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose. You say you wanna cry, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Open eye, feel the waves cut through me. Hypnotized by the sounds I'm breathing in. Hold tight, chemicals collide. Hold tight, hold tight, hold tight. Dripping lights paint the skies, all because of you.
Okay. All right. Let's get into it, shall we? I realize I need to update some of my stuff. Maybe improve some things. Over time. I'll make it a little better, but right now just kind of getting the ball rolling on things. It's been a while since I really streamed. I used to stream used to own a amateur esports team, and I used to stream like the League of Legends games or whatever. Kind of miss it. I always thought about like maybe going back into it, maybe just kind of helping another team. Definitely wouldn't own one. I definitely would like to own one again, but it's also very expensive. Players don't understand that you're in the amateur league. You and even coaches, you getting paid is probably me giving you like $5 for like fucking DoorDash or something. $5 for DoorDash ain't gonna get you shit. Anyways, yeah. So I promise to kind of get it all better looking eventually. But anyways, cool. So topics for today. Um, Doge checks. Fallon calls himself king. Um, Fallon the Fallon bows to Putin. Farmers upset. McConnell retiring, and maybe there's a few other things that we might cover. Um, hasn't even been the full week, but it's been quite the week, to be honest. I don't even know where to start. Like, I probably will save the king thing for last because I feel like that's a whole rant. Like, it's just I don't even know how to explain. Like, here's the thing. It, we knew this is. I'm just gonna ignore it for now. We're gonna do something else first. It's just okay. Anyways, all right. I kind of want to talk about these Doge checks. So I guess Elon or Trump or both, or honestly, who freaking knows at this point, is floating the idea around of we're getting like these. First, I heard it was like $2,500 stimulus checks. Mind you, this is supposedly from the was it 80 billion they claimed to have saved taxpayers. So supposedly, $80 billion is going to be split in into somehow. Again, just think of the math, right? $80 billion is going to somehow be split into. At one point, it was $2,500 per taxpayer. Now I'm hearing it's $8,000 per taxpayer. Why is this opening? Per taxpayer. Um, Math ain't mathin', right? Like, in reality, that check would actually be closer to. Okay, why is this not? Let me try. Let me see if it's. In reality, it's going to be closer to like 100, $200. Let me type it in here. I couldn't originally find it here. I have to probably search for it. I found it just online. Stimulus. Oh, hello. Stimulus. There you go. Oh, it's actually a lot more article. Okay, let's get started. Actually, this is a new one. It's from Fox News too. Now, obviously, I don't really like Fox News, but when even Fox News seems to be calling out some BS, especially from Mike Johnson, then you know some shit's up, right? Okay, so like I said, this has to pertain to Elon and the Fallon claiming that they're gonna save so much money that money that they found, quote unquote, they considered quote unquote fraud or just wasteful spending. And mind you, they haven't found fraud. There hasn't been any proof of any fraud at all. The only fraud they find is fraud they make up, and MAGA eats that shit up. I'm telling you right now. I see people on like TikTok lives all the time, and I would love to do TikTok lives. I just need more followers. But I see people on TikTok lives that are in the MAGA cult all the time create these hypotheticals, and especially when comes to the like right now, it's about the social security checks and how people over 150 are getting sent checks, but because they're dead, it's somehow getting pocketed by God knows who. I don't even know who they try and say it's getting. I think the most recent ones I've heard is Nancy Pelosi, because for some reason Nancy Pelosi is the big bad, despite I might be wrong. I know she's like top five in terms of earnings for when it comes to House members, but I don't even think she's number one. I actually think it's a Republican. But anyways, so Nancy Pelosi and whoever else they blame is somehow getting these Social Security checks that are supposed to be going to people who are over 150 years old. Now, mind you, there's no proof of this. First of all, there's no proof of it. Second of all, it's just a hypothetical, and it's their way of saying, "See, the system's broken." Like, no, man, it's not. It's not broken. It's that Elon and his little 12-year-olds don't understand how data sheets work, let alone data, right? Like I mentioned, like last week, their website got hacked, and people were saying stuff on it. So, anyways, so yeah, that's where these checks are supposedly coming. Now, there is no date when these checks are coming. There's again, the math doesn't add up properly when you take into in fact all the taxpayers in this country, um, and then you try and split that between 80 billion. It's not going to be over 1,000. It just doesn't work, right? On top of that, they haven't even said where this money is currently right now, right? We know where it's going if supposedly they are, right? I don't even believe they're slashing these. How do I put this? I don't believe that they have this money they are saving and finding sitting in some kind of account waiting to be dispersed to the American taxpayers. If you remember the tax plan, which we'll kind of jump into next year, it's going to cost, is it $4.8 trillion added into our debt? 4.7? And they have no way of paying for it, which is why House Republicans are struggling on getting this bill passed, or when it comes to fruition. They're going to be struggling to get it passed because they can't even be sure themselves that enough cuts are being made in other places to pay for this 4.7 4.8 trillion, right? Okay, so Mike Johnson gets asked. Similarly, he was not a fan of a proposal to send American stimulus checks with the money saved by the Department of Government Efficiency, and that he believed the funding was better directed toward the national debt. Okay, so this goes against what President Elon and the Fallon are telling the American people. Remember, he ran on the fact that we're getting money back, right? Money's coming back to us. Um, and as much as I hate Mike Johnson because the dude's a scumbag, let's be honest, like, there's no surprise. He's starting to realize he may have fucked up somewhere along the way and bending the knee to the Fallon because now he's basically come out saying, yeah, no, sorry guys, I don't think you should get checks, right? Because we have to remember when it came to the stimulus checks for COVID, right? It wasn't the Republicans who were looking to get it passed. It was the Democrats who were trying to push for better packages for us during that time. So he says, well, look, I mean, politically, that would be great for us, because that gives everybody a check. John said during the QA session. But if you think about our core principles, right? Fiscal responsibility is what we do as conservatives. That's our brand. And we have $36 trillion in federal debt. And I kind of want to point something out here. Let's all be honest about this for a second. I hate when even liberals do it. But I hate when even just any candidate. Let's just be brutally honest here. Because I feel like it kind of reminds me of homelessness. And I'll explain what I mean. No one gives two shits about the reality of the national debt. It's a political tool because one, it will never get solved. It's always going to go up. Will it eventually go down at some point? Honestly, I don't think so. This country would have to. I mean, it's probably going there. This country would have to basically collapse to the point where it can't even exist anymore. Now, I say that, and it's potentially happening right now. In a way, it kind of is. But anyways, like I said, no one gives two shits. Just be honest with yourself. You don't give a shit about the national debt. No one does. It's a political tool that can be used and manipulated against one's opponent, and nothing more. No one gives two shits about the national debt. Okay? Because if they really did, for as long as people have claimed, then people would have voted for those that actually proposed policies that could either slow, reduce, or even potentially maybe take a bit here and there out of the national debt, right? That's if they really cared, they would vote with those people who propose those policies. But guess what? It's usually the liberals and Democrats who propose those policies, and you can't have that when it comes to the MAGA. Because again, they don't give two shits about the national debt because they keep choosing the person who's raised it the most. Let me put this in perspective. In his first proposal, he's about to match, I think, maybe be a trillion or two under. He's about to nearly match the same spending Biden did in his entire 4 years in just a month. Because again, no one gives two absolute shits about the national debt. It is a political tool. Now, I said it kind of reminds me of homelessness because, again, if we're being brutally honest, in terms of helping homelessness, and so just to clarify, in terms of helping homelessness on a national level, not on a local level, or not even local level, not because I feel like national will fit local. But not as you personally, like maybe giving food to a homeless, money, whatever. Not counting that. The reality is, no one gives two absolute fucks about solving homelessness. Because without homelessness, there is no political person who could use it as a tool against their opponent. You solve homelessness, the person who is in charge is going to look fan fucking tastic. Let me give you an example. I talk about this with my friends and even my brother. I don't know who I don't really have an opinion yet on who should run for the Democratic ticket come next election because I need to see what happens in the next 2 years on in terms of who's going to potentially be the ticket for the Republicans. Because if it ends up being Ron DeSantis, I, as much as I hate to say it, as much as I may think he's not the best choice, and I think there's better options. That's to say, I don't think he'd be bad. Just there are some things he's done quite. I'm talking about Gavin Newsom. Gavin Newsom is basically our fucking felon, except he's not looking to destroy this country. But if it's someone like Ron DeSantis who runs the political ticket, it's got to be Gavin Newsom who runs it for Democrat. We need someone who can match that energy, and he does it so well. Again, I'm not a big fan of the guy, but at the same time, I understand we got to stop fucking around. We cannot continue down this road, and we got to kind of like throw a Hail Mary out there. Now, Gavin Newsom is one of those where people don't know whether to hate him or love him. You can hate him, but you'll probably love him because California is the fifth largest economy in the world, not even just in our country, in the world, right? Produces the most business, produces the most in terms of GDP. It funds a lot of red states thanks to how much it gives back to the federal government. But because Newsom has proposed and even signed some policies, you're just like, what the fuck did you just do? But then and then like the next day he does something like, oh shit, that's actually really good. It's like this. It's like an abusive relate. It's gonna sound fucked up, but it's like an abusive relationship, right? He gives you enough that's good, so you take the bad. That's kind of Ron DeSantis. That's kind of Newsom. So if California and all the Democrats and Republicans who have a seat in California, every governor in California, whether Republican or Democrat, if they actually worked with Newsom to solve homelessness in California, Newsom would look like the most fan fucking tastic person because homelessness has been solved in California. He does that, right? What do Republicans in California have to run on? What do Republican candidates for presidential tickets or even Senate have to run on against someone like Newsom? They can't use homelessness. Homelessness is solved. That's what I'm saying. Be honest. No one gives two absolute fucks about the national debt and homelessness because they're better used as political tools against your opponent. That's it. They'll never get solved. They just never will. There'll be band aids, which is kind of what we already do now, right? A lot of maybe on a local level, uh, things work out, but on a more national level, something where the federal government or more statewide kind of steps in, it's never going to happen because then you lose that political tool against your opponent. That's all it is, right? Like because when you think about it, when it comes to states like California and New York, um, even I'll even say Texas too. Um, you ever notice they don't really attack uh, their budget or GDP? It's because it's too good. So they have to kind of go a little deeper. Look at the homelessness, look at the crime, look at this, look at that. Oh, he's got skeletons in his closet. And again, that's why you'll never solve some of these problems. Anyways, went on a little rant there. Okay. So I think we need to pound it on the credit card. That's so, and this is a great example of what I mean by if you actually cared about the national fucking debt, you wouldn't support someone like the felon who has done nothing except raise the national debt in his first term, and even a month into his second term is going to raise it again. Johnson doesn't give two shits about the national debt. No one gives two shits about the national debt because they keep voting for people, or they keep voting against people who propose policies that can actually do something to either slow it, maybe create some kind of fucking small dent, or, you know, provide some benefits where, yeah, you're going to increase it, but people like us in the middle class or even the lower class get the benefits instead of the rich. Because right now, literally all they're doing is proposing Reagan's policy of trickle down economics. They're just trying to tie it in a different bow and serve it because, again, the MAGA cult will eat shit as long as Donald Trump sprinkles a little bit of his gold fucking shoes and ties it in a nice little bow. They're going to eat that shit up. Guaranteed. That's what it comes down to. So they're just trying to rewrap trickle down economics because they keep saying, oh, if tax cuts go to the rich, then people can get more jobs, get more pay, blah 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 blah. Here's how I know that doesn't work. Tech companies continue to fire people on a yearly basis for budget cut reasons, despite the fact that tech companies have year over year increased their income, right? So if the whole idea is if the wealthy and companies get more richer, that means more jobs and better pay. It gets proven, it gets disproven by the fact alone that Microsoft this year is looking to lay off over 2,000 people. Meta just laid off 5% of their workforce, which I think came out to 4,000, 3 or 4,000, maybe more. Um, Despite both companies having gained more and will be receiving more tax cut benefits. They're not looking to bring it down to the lower level employees. What are they going to do? They're going to go ahead and do some stock buybacks to increase their wealth along with their shareholders on the board. Or they're going to go ahead and buy themselves another yacht, maybe a bunker, things like that. So it's actually, they are actually really never stimulating the economy. Want to know why we saw increase during COVID when it came to like spending? It's because when money came to the middle class and the lower class, people who actually buy, locally and not just buy a fucking $1 million yacht on a one-time purchase, it stimulates the economy because it gets put back into the economy, so it starts to circulate. Almost like if we are the majority, and with the majority, you can actually get shit done. I honestly feel like this is shit I learned in middle school. It's probably high school, but just sometimes, like, I sit here and think, like, and break it down. I'm like, I know I learned this in high school, and I'll say this: maybe they could have made it a little bit easier to understand. Because I remember there are some things I'm like, why don't you just say that? Kind of like how I explained it. I was like, just say that, right? And maybe it gets across more. But at the same time, let's be honest, common sense just doesn't really exist anymore. Critical thinking is lacking. Um, and just to remember, so on Tuesday, I want to make the same announcement again today. If you're part of the MAGA cult and you really believe that people over 150 are getting Social Security checks, don't use scissors. Find an adult to help you use the scissors to cut whatever it is you need you're cutting. If you need to cut like a piece of steak or something, make sure you find an adult to help you cut that piece of steak. Don't do anything with sharp objects, please, if you really believe that people over 150 are being sent Social Security checks. Keep yourself out of danger. Protect yourselves. Find an adult, right? Okay? Like, seriously, I'm being honest. I don't want you to get hurt. Find an adult. Anyways, back to what I was saying. So, basically, Mike Johnson is going against what the Fallon and Elon want to do, which is give back the money that they supposedly found and are saving to the people. And Mike Johnson's saying no because he knows they can't afford it. Because as it is, they cannot afford the Fallon's tax plan, right? So like, sorry, 1 second here. Uh, Gotta do some of these things myself because. Okay. Anyways, I don't have mods. That's not big enough. Anyways, so like I said, Johnson knows they can't afford this because as it is, they can't even afford Trump's tax plan, which we'll kind of get into in a second here. Uh, really. uh, I lost train of thought. I have a jackass in my comments here. Okay. So, anyways, what was I saying? God damn, I lost track. Hold on. Okay. So yeah. Those the goal under Musk cut federal spending by 2 trillion. Yeah, that's not happening. Even if he were to cut 2 trillion, right, and he's claiming he can do it within the year, even if he were to be able to cut 2 trillion, Trump spends so much, or I'm sorry, the Fallon spends so much, right? Not counting his golf trips that he goes to every weekend, which is paid for by our tax dollars, which goes into his Mar-a-Lago account, which also includes whatever Secret Service has to pay. The 2 trillion is nothing compared to how much Trump spends and costs us. 2 trillion is nothing. In all reality, it really is nothing. During his sit-down remarks with Newsmax on Thursday, Johnson also warned that Americans could see the largest tax increase in U.S. history. I mean, we told you. Okay, so that's. Let me go to another article quick. So where did that 8,000 come from? Uh, uh, so I'm assuming he just said it on Twitter. Oh, yeah, it looks like he just said it on Twitter. So it's not even like. Okay, so it says 5,000. Where they got the 8,000 from? He must have said I don't I have Twitter. I don't really go on it anymore though. Like I don't want to. I just want to know where this 8,000 came from. Ocean does even receiving citing demanding faces and although the potential of how okay, yeah, I'm assuming he just said it. Taking 20% of these savings would amount to 400 billion, translating to about 5,000 per household. Oh, so it's just a calculation done by somebody. But I also imagine. Oh crap! Yeah, I'm gonna have to. Okay. Case for Doge dividend. Few American overseas the Doge, which Doge achieving 1 billion in savings per day. It's not true. President Trump has an opportunity to work with Congress to take Doge one step further, and what we is already called the Doge dividend tax refund in July. Okay, so they do have a date. So tax refund check to be sent after the expiration of Doge in July 2026, when exclusively the portion of total savings of the right Doge. Oh, go back. Doge is targeting 2 million total savings. 2 trillion, sorry. Take 20% of Doge total savings and turn it to 79 million. 400 billion in Doge savings. Okay, so yeah, he shared it on. Shares benefit from this. Writing the wrong done to the taxpayer. Boost tax morale. I'm gonna say it. I imagine they're doing this because if you remember Trump's tax plan, right? Uh, Trump's this. If you remember Trump's tax plan, oh, we get a raise in our taxes, meaning we're gonna pay more, while the wealthier pays less. If you don't make over 300 and what is it, 50,000 a year, your taxes are going up. I just wish there's a good chart that it's not that. Here it is. Okay, so Trump's proposed cut, which is per percent. So tax cuts. So this was from. Okay, so average tax change by income group in 2026, right? Trump's tax proposal cut taxes for the richest 5% while raising taxes for other groups. So if you're not making over $360,000 a year, you will see an increase, right? Most of Americans sit around. Why can't I draw? I'll fix it later. Most Americans, I know what I can do. Most Americans sit right around here. Okay, that's most Americans, right? I don't know how big of a majority. So, meaning that we're going to pay, that group's going to pay that much more in taxes once this tax plan takes effect. Okay. Um, and then it looks like they were thinking about cutting it as well for this group because if you notice, it only goes up 610. Uh, but look at this. This is what they're trying to pay for, which is why Johnson's saying that it should not go back to the people because he doesn't know how they're going to pay for this, right? He's kind of he's worried. Um, break it down this way. So poorest Americans see largest tax increase from Trump's tax proposal, and this is the average. So again, tax cut. Go back to the wealthy. And it looks like he's just going to extend some stuff. So we're cooked, essentially, right? We get nothing. We don't even get crumbs. We're giving our crumbs back to the wealthy. So so yeah, we're not seeing these stimulus checks. And if we do see them, like what buys you what 2 dozen eggs, uh, and maybe like some avocado. So we're not really gonna see it. Um, but hey, you know what? They don't really need they don't need they don't need to actually do it because come next year, right? When it comes time for because they said July 2026, right? When it comes to that time and they actually don't do it, they'll make an excuse. They'll probably blame Democrats because it's also the same year that special elections happen, right? The House is up for some House seats are up for re-election, some Senate seats are up for re-election. So they're going to kind of hold that over MAGA's head, and be like, look, we can do it, but we still need the House, we still need the Senate, so we got to push back, blah blah blah, and yeah, they're going to hold on, sorry, I had to text my sister something. Anyways, yeah, so it's not coming. They're gonna keep pushing it back, keep pushing it back. By the time Trump or the felon has to leave office, but oh, see, Democrats made us not do it because we didn't have control. There's going to be something, and they already got it. They already have something in mind. They're just kind of they're holding a pile of shit in front of MAGA and calling it gold, and they're falling for it. Okay, that's what's happening here. Um, Now, I also want to remind people, oops, I also want to remind people that in his tax plan, um, in his tax plan, uh, there is no proposal to have no tax on tips, no tax on OT, and no tax on Social Security. Now, the claim, actually, is there? Um, I thought there was an article. I guess not. So just to kind of put it in perspective, There is no proposal for any of those. Everything he promised on the campaign trail about no tax on tips and stuff doesn't exist. Uh, so what they're kind of banking on right now, um, is they have these bills that are proposals in the House for no tax on tips and stuff. But if this tax plan passes, then those bills are useless. Okay? Because it's not how it works. You can't, once you have a tax plan in place and it gets passed, it's there for 8 years, right? Um, oh, okay. It's there for 8 years, so he can't do anything. He can't. Uh, but it's a nice way for him to convince his MAGA cult that they're looking to do it, even though he may not even know. Maybe someone told him that. Who knows at this point? Anyways, so he may not even know himself, but he knows his MAGA cult won't understand that those proposals are useless. That they're not going anywhere. They're not going to get passed. They're not going to get voted on because they can't. Once this tax, the reason he won't put it in this tax plan is because he doesn't really want it. Right? He doesn't really want to give those no tax tips and stuff. It was just a nice thing for him to say to get elected. And he just had to have some kind of backup plan. In this case, it was, oh, we got bills on the House floor. No, it's not how it works. It needs to be in that tax proposal if he really meant about having no tax on tips and stuff. But he doesn't mean it. He never did. Okay? He never did. Uh, he never will. Because if you remember, not only did he say no tax on OT, I think it was like a week later, um, maybe even like a day later, but he's said on multiple occasions that he wants to get rid of overtime pay. He just wants to get rid of overtime. So of course there'd be no tax on overtime because there'd be no fucking overtime. Like, hello? I, how they didn't catch that, I don't know. Okay, let me reel back. How they still don't fucking get it, I don't understand. They definitely caught it. I know they did. They just refused to live in the reality of it, right? Um, but anyways, they just refuse to believe it. They can never believe anything bad about the felon, and a lot of it's because they just want to own the libs. That's all it is. They don't actually fucking care about policy because they can never name Trump's policy. You ask them to name the felon's policy, like, oh, deportation. That's not a fucking policy. Like, it's not a policy, right? Uh, so they don't know what they don't even know what policy is, right? Uh, but anyways, Trump's promise clashes directly with the House Strategic Budget Plan, which seeks as much as 880 billion Medicaid cuts over the next decade. That figure is by the farthest biggest chunk of the 2 trillion in cuts Republicans are seeking across all federal programs to help pay for the loss of revenue for the proposed tax cuts. Those offsets are seen as crucial to the success of the larger legislative package because conservatives, deficit hawks, whose votes will be needed to move the bill through the House to Trump's text, are demanding that the legislature not add to the nation's $36 trillion debt. And again, I go back to these House fucking leaders and Republicans don't give two shits about the national debt because they still went and supported this fuckface. Excuse my language. They don't give two shits, nor do their supporters give two shits about the national debt because they still went ahead and backed the felon anyways. So all this like not wanting to add to the nation's debt, they never really cared. And they never will. because if it actually got solved, they have nothing against their opponents. That's it. And the fact that people haven't figured this out, maybe some have, they just don't want to say it. I don't know. Okay. Tribute leaders have dismissed criticism of their designs for Medicaid, which largely serves low-income Americans. Speaker Mike Johnson said last week that virtually all the savings will come from two initiatives: an aggressive effort to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in the program, and a move to expand work requirements for certain adult beneficiaries. Medicaid has been on the chopping block, Johnson told reporters in the Capitol. Has never, sorry. What we're talking about is finding the it's not benefit related reforms to the program. Work is good for you, you find dignity in work, and the people that are not doing that, we're going to try to get their attention. So everyone needs to take a deep sigh of relief, understand that we're not going to harm any Americans. You know what's crazy about this? The fact that he's saying this, you know what protected people in these kind of situations? Because some people get Medicaid for, you know, medical reasons, right? Obviously, that's what it's for. And those reasons could be maybe they're unable to perform certain tasks. Maybe they need special uh, types of accessibility to get into a building or something. You know what that was? And they got rid of it? That was DEI. They legit got rid of something that could help these guys find work. Just, just, it amazes me. You gotta give them some credit here. They know how dumb they sound. Let's be honest, they know how dumb they sound. They just have to just go through with it. They have to work so hard. I bet they spend more time practicing in the mirror, keeping a straight face when they're saying they're spewing bullshit like this. They don't see, like they see the irony. They just got to pretend they don't. Um, Design slash safety net programs. They're children to ourselves who actually want to love and cherish Medicaid, not destroy it. We only need three, and this is a good thing to remember right here. The House majority is very slim. Okay. Uh, which is why Johnson's also concerned because there are some Republicans who are starting to get tired of this crap and starting to regret some stuff. And on top of that, there are also a lot of Republicans who are voted in states where majority of their voters rely on these programs. Meaning if those programs get cut, support for them will probably get lost. So that means they might vote no in order to protect their chair. Or to their seat, sorry. Um, so just remember this, which is why elections are important, right? Midterm elections important, right? Special elections important because we could take the House back. I don't remember how slim the Senate is. Just as slim. I think right now it's a 51-49 type situation in terms of votes needed. So again, we can literally take back both places and just totally fuck Trump again, or the felon again, right? Okay, let's see here. All right, so we've kind of covered. Uh, yeah, that's kind of all of Doge. A lot of shit happens in that stupid made up bull crap. Like it's hard to really keep track of it all. Uh, Okay. Like I said, that was quite a bit of a Doge update. But again, they're if they're impacting so much. Wasteful spending is such a big deal for them, unless it is Trump in the Super Bowl driving his motorcade around NASCAR, then it is okay. Yeah, don't forget the golf trips. Yeah. Like I said, they don't care about wasteful spending. I was mentioning it earlier. They really don't care about wasteful spending. It's a nice little slogan for them, right? Because they think it owns the libs. Yeah, again, that's all it comes down to is, oh, we're owning the libs. Oh, we're making them cry. Oh, they're in their feelings. Oh, but that's all it is. It's performative. Which is why it's insane to me when MAGA cult members are would come up and say things like he's transparent because he's on TV more. The dude just loves attention. That's not tra- if that's the case, all actors and actresses are transparent because they're always on camera. That's not what transparency is. Just because he's signing a bunch of BS on TV doesn't mean anything. Because even if he were to sign it behind closed doors, right, and you knew how to research and you knew how to read, you can easily go find those EOs that were signed. Because again, just because it happens on TV doesn't mean it's transparent, right? I feel like this is something we should all understand. Most of us do, right? Which we know who doesn't. Um, Also, I'm not sure why it says Gone Rogue. It says you're a possible ban evader. Did you like get banned, make a new account, and then come here? I'm not worried about it. I just saw that. That was pretty funny. Anyways, okay. So, all right. Let's go ahead and get into. So I wanted to talk about the farmers last time, but I kind of forgot. Actually, let's see here. Da, 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 da. Oh, I need a subscription. I thought the whole point of Apple News Plus was to avoid these subscriptions, but I guess not. What a bummer. I mean, I still like it. It's only on a free trial. Yeah, I'm kind of cheap like that, you know. Anyways. Okay, so now remember, when it comes, two things have happened this year. Two things that happened in the last month under the Fallon's presidency that have pissed off farmers. One was in California when he released a bunch of water and pretty much caused damage to um, farmers' land and even reserves for come summer or was it summer, spring, something like that. That was the first thing. Two, a lot of farmers were expecting checks um, for themselves for their farm, but because of the whole Doge thing and freezing funds, those checks didn't come. Now they're pissed. And as a reminder, we warned these a-holes that this would happen. So now there's some farmers pissed off and regretting their vote as if we didn't tell them in the first place this is what's going to happen. They just didn't give two craps because why? They wanted to. I'm going to put it on screen right here. They. Oh, that's too big. They just want to own the libs. That's it. They just want to own the libs. That is the only reason they'll give now, right? Because they have nothing else of reason. They just wanted to own the libs. These farmers that voted Trump didn't care because they just didn't like liberals and Democrats and progressives, even though we told them, hey, you could lose some funding, but they just wanted to own the libs. Because that's how you should vote. Owning a certain group of voters. It's kind of like them protest voters. I can't stand them a-holes either. That's a whole nother conversation. Anyways. So it looks like USDA is gonna release some funds, but damage is done, right? Cost in stores are going up already again, right? Eggs going up, other things going up, produce is going to be going up, delays and stuff, and then of course the blanket tariffs on China. So a lot of stuff going up there. And don't forget that the tariffs that were imposed were supposed to be imposed on Canada and Mexico. Those are coming back because there was only a 1 month pause on those, and that took place what, February 6th or something like that. So in about a week and a half, going to go through this whole tariff situation again. Okay, so the sum represents a tiny sliver of the program funding the USDA suspended after the White House. Oh, so it's not even the full thing. It's only a sliver. USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins said the released funds will go to honor contracts that were already made directly with farmers. USDA is listing $20 million in contracts. The Environmental Quality Incentive Program, the Conservation Stewardship Program, and the Agriculture Conservation Easement Program. Some of the money the USDA has frozen is tied to environmental conservative programs funded by former President. That wasn't getting released. It's got Joe Biden's name on it. They're never seeing that check. Signature climate law and the 2022 Inflation Reduction Act, which included both $19.5 billion for farm programs over 10 years. Damn. They are getting pennies of what they should have because they just wanted to own the libs. It's hard to feel bad. I don't feel bad. There was I'm gonna sound like a fucking dick, but who cares at this point? There was a Fallon voter who regretted their vote. Him and his wife, and he only regrets it because it actually hurt him and his wife. Apparently, his wife had cancer or something, and something got paused where her help to pay for the procedures and stuff got stopped because whatever the felon signed in his first week. Only then did he regret his vote, despite the fact we told him this was going to happen. I want to feel bad, right? Because no one should have to go through that. But at the same time, we warned these people, right? Like, we told them this is going to happen. They just didn't care. Until it affects them, they don't care. They talk about being Christians and Catholics and loving God and Jesus. If they really did, they would care about everybody, not just themselves. But the fact that it has to take affecting them personally, that's when they want to care. It's just utter BS, which is why it's hard for me to feel bad for these situations, because it's like we told you, we said this was going to happen, and you just didn't want to believe it. And it's like, why should I feel bad? Do I hope she gets the help she needs? Sure, but you also voted to make sure she didn't get the help she needs. So it's like, why should I, be the one that is concerned about that when you weren't concerned about making sure she got the help needed for her health, right? Despite the fact we told you over and over and over during the whole election cycle that, hey, this is what he's going to plan on doing. And again, you just didn't freaking care. So why should I? That's kind of where I'm at. Does that make me an asshole? Probably. Do I really care? Nope, because we tried. We really tried. Agency reviewed The agency's review of IRA-backed grants and contracts is part of its sweeping review of more 400 USDA programs. Trump administration has said the funding for programs helping farmers will not be affected in government overall. Look, if he says something's not going to happen, it's going to fucking happen. The fact that you haven't learned that by now, that's on you. That really is on you. The amount of times he'd said something and it turned out to be a lie is like, is a 99% chance. Okay? You should have learned that. He told over 30,000 lies in his first term. And they're always saying, oh, let's go lie for lie. You cannot, because at some point you're going to run out of lies Biden has said during his first term, just after Trump's first month in his first term of office. Okay? You cannot go lie for lie. You never kill. You never will be able to. Because he just constantly lies. He lied about Zelensky's approval rating. He said it was 4%. It's actually over 50%. It's higher than his approval rating. He lied today that his approval rating was 70% or 60%, some crap like that. I don't think it's on. Uh, Come on. Nope. It's going to be in here somewhere. Hold on. I think it was like 60 or 7% is what he said his approval rating was. Nope. That's not it. Nope. 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 I'll have to find it another time. Anyways, so yeah, he lied about his approval rating, saying it was over 50%, over 60%. Not even close. It actually dropped. It's like almost in the 40s, or maybe it is. Actually, I think it is. I think it is in the 40s. Screw it. Let's look it up. You son of a bitch. Sixty bill close showed 44%. He's down from 45. He went down a percent, still at 47. He's not even above 50. Hasn't been a month, and he had a slight bump in the honeymoon phase, but even that honeymoon phase apparently didn't even go above 50. I'm pretty sure I thought it did. Oh, here we go. Wait, what is that? What does that start at? Ah, go back. What does that start at? Yeah, it doesn't even start at 50%. It starts at like 47, 48. So even his honeymoon phase didn't give him a boost. It stayed below 50%, and now it's down to 45. He's on pace to potentially break his own approval rating because he left office at 33-ish, 34-ish, right? That's what it looks like. He could break that. That's gonna be impressive. I'll give him credit on that if he does it. I'll give him fucking credit. That's you gotta try real hard to do that. Where was I? Oh yeah. So farmers are pissed. I imagine that's where that provocate. It again. It's hard to feel bad about some of these things because you try to tell them, they just refuse to listen. Um, yeah. Okay. That was quite a bit. I apologize. Uh, oh, this is new. Oh, hello. Disaster itself. Texas politicians react to Trump's plan to cut disaster. Well, he did say FEMA should be removed. This is not surprising at all. Politicians in hurricane battered Houston were less than enthused Thursday evening after news broke of the Trump administration plan to cut the vast majority of staff at a federal office tasked with disaster recovery. First reported on by the New York Times, U.S. President Donald Trump is reportedly planning to fire as many as 84% of the workers employed by the Office of Community Planning and Development, which falls under Department of Housing and Urban Development. The office provides funding for recovery efforts in the wake of natural disasters. Okay. U.S. Rep. Lizzie Frazier. Disaster recovery is complex and requires many working collaboratively to ensure federal funding is spent efficiently, effectively, and ethically. And Nars repeated. Office Community Plan. Basically, Houston's screwed. Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, he's mentioned about gutting FEMA over and over and over. So the fact that Texas is surprised by this, again, they didn't care. They just wanted to. They just wanted to own the libs. Yeah. Yeah. Just I want you. There we go. Just wanted to own the libs. Nothing more. They just wanted to own the libs. Realize what happened. Oh, I gotta reset it. Hold on, guys. Didn't realize my thing turned off. Apologize. Alright, froze. Looks like it froze. What's going on here? There we go. Alright, apologies about that. Should be fixed. Alright, just one of the loops. Alright, so we covered Doge, covered the farmers. And then next here. Okay, so we all know the whole Ukraine-Russia situation. I'm going to be honest here. Not looking good. So the Fallon refuses to allow Ukraine at the table for negotiations. And on top of that, he had canceled a meeting with Zelensky that was supposed to happen tomorrow. Let's see. There was, what was that meeting supposed to be? I just know there's a meeting coming up that got canceled. Right? Oh, it's gonna bug me. I'll kind of look at it further in the background. So, anyways, basically, this situation is not good. I don't think there is anything that's going to make it any better. Uh, here's what I think. Okay, so here's some good things and some bad things. Bad things, obviously, we talked about. Basically, the felon has bent the knee and bowed down, kissed the ass of Putin. And we have to remember, one of the felon's goals is to be like Russia. That is his goal. That's what he wants. He wants to be like Russia. He wants to be like North Korea. Hell, I imagine he also wants to be like China. In some sense. but mostly Russia and North Korea. And so that's the bad. The good, just believe it or not, is I do think there will be some minor pushback in the House, even from some Republicans. One. Two, Ukraine will still have most of NATO. So I don't think they're going to really, they're not going to really give up. They've already said that. They're not going to allow anything that doesn't give their land back. But they're going to have majority of NATO behind their backs, right? Obviously not us. It's a lost cause. Our enemies are becoming our allies. Our allies, which is a much larger list, are becoming our enemies. Secondly, I like to think that there are some reasonable sound people still inside this fucking administration. But I don't care what you think of Europe or those countries. I don't care what you think of places like Denmark or places like Panama Canal. I don't care. If we were to actually try and go against NATO, we are screwed. Just because we spend the most in military doesn't mean a goddamn thing. It really doesn't. We cannot go against NATO because we would be screwed. We cannot fight that force. Okay? Again, it just doesn't matter how much we spend in military. It really doesn't. We just overpay for shit. Because you also have to think about there's even resources we get from other countries for our military. Once that stuff gets cut off, we're losing that resources. And what people don't understand, especially those who think these tariffs are good because it brings production back into the states. No, it's not good because we cannot produce everything here, let alone produce enough of it to support our population size, which is why we sometimes have to import things. Just like we sometimes have to import things from other countries for our military. Okay? It's how it works. Right? Everyone's been paying their fair share. This whole idea that NATO countries not paying their fair share is just a stupid, idiotic thing to say. Okay? Um, excuse me. So yeah, if we were actually trying to fight NATO, we would lose. Obviously, we would put up a fight, but we would lose. There's no question about it. It's not a secret. There's no winning. Um, Russia's forces getting depleted. I think their number of casualties for Russia is about 200,000 away from a billion or a million. Sorry. Okay, and mind you, they're a much bigger population size than Ukraine, and the fact that Ukraine has been able to do that to them speaks volume. Again, mostly because we've been helping too, along with other countries. Um, so if this actually goes down how we think it is, I don't know. Do I think there'll be a World War III caused out of this? I don't know. I want to say no, um, but all signs kind of pointing towards that way. I mean, there's really no way around it. It's yeah. Okay, so where was I? So I was told his meetings would talk. Oh, here it is. Could be canceled if he didn't simply agree to certain demands. They're worried about mixed messages in public and private from senior Trump advisors about whether the possibility of Ukraine joining NATO be on the table in negotiations with Russia to end the war. And they were concerned when Defense Secretary Hess told them in the closed-door meeting that the United States may withdraw a significant number of its troops from Europe. It's the first time I'm learning about that. I'm not gonna lie. From President Fallon's perspective, Zelensky is showing resistance to what Trump views or Fallon views as reasonable ask of a country to set to receive more than $75 billion in military aid. He found Zelensky in no rush It makes some compromises that U.S. and European officials have long conceded in private would be required in a peace deal. Trump last on Tuesday blamed. Oh yeah, that's right. Forgot about that. He blamed Ukraine for the invasion, saying that it was Ukraine's fault that Russia invaded them. Somehow, the people who got invaded are at fault for being invaded, which obviously should not need to be fact checked, right? Like we all know, all of us with the brain know that Russia invaded Ukraine. Like that's not a secret, right? We're not like I can't even. So, oh, then he called. That's right. He also called Zelensky a dictator, and that's when he went on about how Zelensky's approval rating is at 4%. So like most countries, if there's a war going on, depending on where, so let's say if there's a war going on here in our lands, we would suspend potentially. It's not an official thing, but we there would potentially be a suspension of elections during that time. Um, Again, it just kind of depends, and every country varies. Right? There's a lot of countries like that where if they're in a time of war, especially on their land, they may suspend elections. In this case, that's what's kind of happened here. So he didn't suspend it because he's trying to be a dictator. There's only one person here acting like a dictator, and that's the felon. Uh, um, Anyways, so after Trump won the November election, his longest time, he was a convinced felon that Ukraine was not the problem. He there's no convincing him that. I'm pretty sure Zelensky knows that. Like, but he's just trying something. I'm pretty sure he has a plan B and C, especially after the Fallon one. Um, so I obviously he's not gonna say, right? Because I guarantee Europe also has a plan in place too. Again, they're not gonna really say. I don't expect them to. Um, let's see. Where was I? Oh, Putin had a little interest in negotiating a peace deal, and intelligence from the United States and allies indicates that his views are unchanged and that he eventually wants to control all of Ukraine. But Zelensky's government recognized that Fallon was skeptical of it because of its cause. That he had a track record of avoiding criticism of Russia. Two of the people with knowledge on the matter said. The Fallon sees Putin as his god. How MAGA cult sees the Fallon as their god, Fallon sees Putin as his god. That's kind of how it goes, right? It goes Putin, Fallon, and then all his MAGA cults just eats their shit. Zelensky sought to show his government was flexible with the show a prospect, though the United States hasn't declared that publicly. Zelensky suggested, for instance, that European countries could deploy troops to Ukraine as a security guarantee in a post-war arrangement. Uh, so I'm just trying to some of this I've seen. Really nothing that so yeah, so basically so what that was really saying was Russia released a prisoner in order to prevent the felon going through with these threats. So the felon threatened Russia with sanctions and stuff. Let's be freaking for real. It was never happening. It was never happening. Putin didn't even have to do anything, right? He could have just made a phone call like, "Hey, come on, we're buddies," and that was it. Probably all it was. But they did release a prisoner. Um, U.S. Premier official prepared to excess speech and follow that advice. He departed from Josh prepared earlier in the day to deliver a blunt message to Ukraine's president. The United States does not believe that NATO members should Ukraine's realistic outcome of negotiating the settlement. His prior remarks had security guarantees for Ukraine should not be provided through NATO membership, according to 3 U.S. officials from NATO. You know, I would really like to. Oh, this is interesting. At no time was Secretary Hegseth advised by administration officials to avoid casting doubt on NATO membership. Secretary's remarks were coordinated with senior members of the President's national security team and supported the message he delivered top to bottom, full stop. NATO membership shortly after. Made no announcement on nor timeline for a drawdown of U.S. troops in Europe. So he's not even. So Hegseth is pretty much keeping everyone out of the dark except the felon. You know, if I knew being a drunk was one of the qualifications needed to be an official, I would have had my sister run for one of these fucking seats. Because she can drink. My whole family can. I would have suggested my whole goddamn family. Like, it's just, I don't know how we have Russian sympathizers. I don't understand. Um, how we went from seeing them as the bad guy because they were pretty much the bad guy to now we're supposed to be buddies with them, right? And let's not forget that Russia targeted U.S. troops. The Fallon didn't do anything. Russia made threats. Fallon didn't do anything. Because again, they're best friends, right? That's the Fallon's god. He's not going to go against his god. The moment the Fallon went on national TV and said that it was Ukraine's fault, Putin started popping champagne. He probably still is. He's probably still celebrating. He hasn't stopped. He knows he's going to get everything he wants. And, yeah. Alright, let's do this last thing here. So, a little reminder of how we became a country. We legit were trying to get away from something like this. Kings. Monarchies. Fallon calls himself the king as the White House shares a fake Time cover of him. Long live the king. I hope they have that. There it is. Perfect. This is on the official White House government website. And if you don't believe me, because I guarantee there's some people who won't. No. All right, everyone look away. You gotta be crapping me right now. What the heck? Go, stop showing on screen. Damn. Alright, hope no one saw that. I really don't want to log into my IG because, you're going to see some stuff. Here we go. So this is on the official White House Instagram. Okay? It's not a joke. The official White House account shares an image of Trump wearing a crown like a king, and it says, "Long live the king." This is something we fought to get away from, right? And I'm going to show you how MAGA just doesn't give a shit. They're saying he is joking. I want to remind people this is something he's talked about being throughout his campaign. He said he wanted to be a dictator on day one, practically was. Always talked about how he was above the law, signed an executive order stating that he and fuck, forgot who else are the ones who interpret the law. They don't. He's jam packing courts with executive orders so he can see how far he can get with his power. This is not a joke. This is, for one, an official White House account sharing this. Two, this is supposed to be the President of the United States, not a king. Or in this case, probably a queen, because the king would be Elon. This is not what we're based on. And this is why he said that you won't have to vote again. This is why he said you won't need another election, because that is what they're trying to do. And the fact people are thinking this is a joke, this is not a joke. It's not. You cried about corruption and all this BS, communism, blah, blah, blah. And it's happening right in front of you, and you are just choosing to ignore it, saying it's a joke. Everything to you guys is a joke. And I honestly think I think you have to believe it's a joke, because the moment you realize it's not, you have to admit how wrong you were, and you can't do that. Because why? Just want to own the lip. This is all it is. This is why they had to pretend everything's a freaking joke, because the moment they realize it's not, they have nothing to say they can own the libs on. All they care about is owning the libs. This is not a joke. And it's insane to me. I don't need you anymore, Instagram. Go away. No, stop it. What happened? Okay. The fact that you think that is just insane to me. It's not a joke. Like the whole when Elon did the whole Nazi salute, you thought that was a joke, and you tried to recreate it, but you always did it wrong. It's because you knew, right? It's because you knew it was wrong, right? Then you try to say, "Oh, but he says my heart goes out to you." Not the first time. Nope, he didn't say it the first time. He said it for the second time. But the fact that he doubled down was insane, right? The whole dictator on day one thought that was a joke, but what did he do? He signed over 200 executive orders. Okay. And like I said, I tell people this all the time. The bright side of executive orders is they can be challenged. They're not law. Um, And I think I know what he's trying to do. I think he's trying to get majorities up to the Supreme Court because he thinks they're going to rule in his favor on pretty much all of it. But the Supreme Court's not going to take, if they might not even take anything. The only one I imagine they're taking is the birthright citizenship. Aside from that, everything else they're going to leave to the lower courts, which have been doing their job because again, that's what they're there for. Um, Granted that some areas it might be more difficult, but they're getting it done. So when he says this, we are that he's long live the king. He's already telling you what he wants to do. He doesn't want another election. He just asked the crowd today if he should run again, and they chanted 4 more years, which is his sign that hey, they really think I'm a king. Let me go through with it even further. And he's going to keep pushing this because he knows you dumb MAGA freaking brainless, smooth motherfuckers will never take it serious. I apologize. I was holding it back as long as I could. He knows that you'll make any damn excuse for him because you're so far gone that you don't know anything else. And it goes back to that the moment you realize you were wrong, you cannot say you own the libs anymore. Because now shit got thrown in your face. It's just. I'll probably talk more about it in a. I don't know. It's just I don't think there's much that much needs to be said else, right? Like this isn't funny. The, him saying he's a king, long live. It's not funny. It's not a joke. It's it's disgusting. And where's the? Oh, I'm trying to find something. Um, and which is why like I don't know what else to really say because there shouldn't you shouldn't have to explain why it's bad. So I'm trying to find something real quick to share for you guys. I just don't remember where it's at. Um, nope, 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 nope. I apologize. I thought I had saved it. I guess I didn't. I apologize, guys. Oh, I just thought I saw it online too. Dang it. I'll try. I'll share it on my TikTok. When I do find it, I have to just join one of the discords. Let's see if I can do it real quick right now. But anyways, as I was saying, yeah, this isn't funny. Like, I, the fact that it needs to be said is just utterly insane. Um, and it's just freaking
So I
disgusting.
just saw
Oh, sorry.
Trump say,
Oh, sorry. Apologize. I'm trying to find. Oh, perfect. Go here, here, and really, you don't have it saved either. Are you crapping me right now? I just don't really want to join the Discord. Not that I'm not a fan of Discord. It's just sometimes I shouldn't have to join the Discord to get information I'm looking for. You know what I mean? Like just share the information. Por favor. Like Come on. That's not it. That's not it. It's not it. Ugh.
We don't have a long queue time.
Oh, she
That
has.
was helpful
Perfect.
and definitely helped. Just
Sorry for hearing that. Sorry. Almost got it. There it is. That's what I'm looking for. Okay, now I need to. So it's going to be. Okay, so I have to go to TikTok real quick. Okay, so.
Hey, good to meet you, Mindy.
Mindy, nice to
Yeah.
meet you.
Stop it.
For forget.
Stop it. Sorry.
You might know who you
Stop
are
it.
if you read this, and
No.
if you ever, um, you know.
Let's turn down this volume. Okay. Sorry. I thought I saved the poster, so I do apologize. Okay. So yeah. So going off the whole king shit thing, right? So this Sunday in New York, where I live, there's going to be a protest against fascism. There's going to be an Antifa protest. Okay. February 23rd, this Sunday, 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. in Washington Square Park. I might go for a bit. I might go for the whole thing. But they're gonna have some speakers there. And I forgot what to say. So it's supposed to be a pretty big crowd. Like if you know Mr. Jones on TikTok, he's gonna be speaking. I think Laney's gonna be speaking as well. I don't know who else. I thought they said there was a list somewhere. I probably have to join one of the discords. I just really don't want to. So this Sunday, and I might go there. So I'll share it again. I'll share this tomorrow as well. For those to see. In case anyone's in New York and wants to go, I'll go and share that. Again, I might go myself. But we'll see. And if you happen to go, let me know. Maybe hit up and whatnot, hang out for a bit during the rally. Have a good time, right? Because again, this is exactly what we need more of, and there have been quite a bit of protests going on, right? And I think there's more happening. Yeah, there's a website. I have to find what the website is. But anyways, so yeah, check it out. There's also a planned blackout. Oh, and look. Where's that? I just saw it. There we go. Planned economic blackout. So Friday, February 28th, 24 hours, 12:01 a.m. to 11:59 p.m. Spend no money at Walmart, Target, Amazon, any chains, no gas, no fast food, no online shopping, buy local and small. Show them our power. This one's been planned for quite a while, actually. I'll share this one too. This one's for next Friday. And this one I saw get planned pretty quickly. It was like, oops, like the beginning of the month, or even towards the end of the last month, especially when it happened around the whole tariff thing. So yeah, that's kind of what's next. Just in perspective, Amazon makes a lot of money in one single day. Look it up. $1.56 billion per day. So even if 40% of us don't shop on Amazon for a day, that's a huge impact. Okay. Which it's just funny too, right? Because the whole DEI thing, right? One thing he hasn't talked about and bragged about is the stock market. Because shit's fallen. So here, for starters, good example. I think this just happened recently. Amazon stock market. And I gotta claim that. Oops. Maybe it wasn't Amazon. Oh, Target. Target. So when you get rid of oh, and look at Tesla. Tesla has been dropping pretty bad. Where's the 2-month one? So since January, it peaked at 460, dropped. It was around here they kind of made some announcement about the whole Tesla thing and Secret Service or whatever, and it's continuing to drop. And then Target, ever since their whole DEI thing. Oh, wrong keyboard. Look at that bad boy. Look at that bad boy. So, just a reminder, Target was getting rid of their DEI initiatives, right? And that's dropping. Meanwhile, Costco has been going up. But yeah, so just kind of keep those things in mind. So this Sunday, if you're in New York or near, there'll be Antifa protests, right, anti-fascist, and we're gonna make sure. I will say this. Part of me doesn't mind the whole King talk because when it comes to kings in history, it's not that good. So keep that in mind. It's not that good. Take that for what you will. Alright, guys. Appreciate those who have joined. I'll be live again, probably again next week. I'm going to try to do 3 days. But so far, Tuesday, Thursdays are probably going to be the days I do. But I want to try and do one more day out of those 3 days or 2 days. And then again, make sure you follow me on TikTok. Once I get enough followers there on TikTok, I plan on streaming on TikTok too. So I'll do both TikTok and Twitch.